well, I got lots of goodies here, so let's try some of these. Play with them a little bit, huh? So I've got this gas tank, and it's perfectly fine as it is. And I'm going to mess it up by making it too complicated. And I'm going to try and put this here fuel sender on it. So, now, the gauge I have is supposed to read 0 to 100. And this is, it says 240 to 33 ohm. And that was because Amazon's description, this should have been perfect for that. But in real life, yeah, apparently the descriptions don't match, like lots of things that you buy on there. So let's see if there's a way that I can set this up in order to get some usability out of it. So if I want usability, it measures a range, right? So let's figure out where its low is and where its high is, and what range of movement would get me closest to 0 to 100 measurements. So, okay, and it doesn't seem to change, so, But either way, we gotta slide this that way. So next thing I want to do, let's try and cut this down to an appropriate length. Alright, so obviously it can be a little longer than I need, but it can't be shorter than I need. So let's make sure it just fits in the tank. So let's go to here. And that should give me room to play either way. So it appears we want this as reasonably high in there as it could, like I said. Because if I'm going from 33 to 240, and I have this much room to do it, alright, and that'll probably get me the closest to that usable range. Alright, now on empty, I want it to be empty. So it appears I'll have to move the float a little bit. We'll have to get it so the float sits no lower than that, most likely. Give me plenty of room all around it. All right, and there's that. It's in there. I have no clue what it's gonna do, how it's gonna work. We're just gonna have to give it a shot when the time comes and hope it works, I think. Now we'll let this dry for a while. Stuff says at least 24 hours, but this is going to be dry until I'm ready to fill this thing up and give it a test run. So it's going to have plenty of time for this to dry before any fuel goes in it. Now that's that. That's the fuel tank with a sender that may or may not work. It'll do something. We'll see how accurate it is. All right, now this needs to be bigger. So I have this sweet little Dremel mill here. I don't think it's going to work, but I'm gonna give it a shot. So 1.19 is what it needs to be. So I need to take some meat off that bone, huh? Right now I'm about 0.99, so I need to get 1 point, so I need to get like a, oh, what is that, 85 thousandths off of here? Off each side, a little more than that maybe. So I have this sweet little Dremel mill. We're gonna give it a shot, see what I can do. I don't know if it's going to work, but you don't ever know unless you try. So let's get these out of the way. Let's get my bits and shits. Let's take this. All right, let's get this in here now. So if you can't tell, I also made this plate to attach this larger piece on here. It didn't have the same spacing. It was meant for, it's obviously made for an actual mill. So, yeah. Let's see, do we have enough for these to go? Hopefully we do. Oh yeah, looks like it's gonna work. Yes. All right, now I don't really care if it's, well, I guess I do sort of care if it's centered on there. Beautiful. For this first run, I'm going to try and keep it nice and tight up here. I'm probably going to have to extend it at some point to make the full thickness if I can't even get this. So we shall see. That's really close. So let's Let's try. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I had that nice and snug. Ain't going nowhere, huh? All right. So it actually doesn't look bad, but for my finish, I want to make sure I try and get it as smooth as possible. So we're gonna go in here with a fresh cutter. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to get it just kissing the top edge like this. See, it's barely there. You can hear it just kiss it. And I just want to slowly run it down. And as you see, I'm just slowly turning this. You can see how big that lip's gotten by the time it gets to the bottom there. That little step. So by running layer by layer, that's pretty much the culmination of what I've missed with all my passes. Which is why I'm slowing down here towards the bottom, to give it plenty of time to cut those next few thousandths. Let's just run it till we get to the end here, the keyway. All right. Now that I've got it cut all the way through, one last thing I want to do is put a bevel on the end. So it originally had a bevel as well. I just want to put one back on it. So make it so I can slide it on and off a little easier. I'd like to go right about there. Just shy of a 30 degree. All right, let's run this down. And now let's run our bevel. And there we go. There's a beautiful bevel. All right, let's drop this tilt table down. Let's get the drill off of it. Now let's get it unclamped and see what we got. I would like to point out that this was apparently steel. And this is a homemade Dremel mill. So how cool is that, huh? All right, let's see where we're at. All right. Once again, what do I need? 1.18. 1.192. 1.185. So I'm within a few thousandths of my goal. 1.183. 1.1735. So you can see it kind of tapers. So hopefully it'll be nice and snug on there. I might have to hit this with a little sandpaper by hand to loosen this side up. And that's just because it's so tiny, it has some play built into it. So it can't put a full load on steel with that thin bit and plastic Dremel with wood. So that's pretty darn good, and I'm super happy. Look at how clean that is too. That is slick. Oh boy, that was a good finish we put on there. And this bevel too, that'll just roll right onto that thing. It'll just bloop bloop. Oh yeah. Perfect. All right, well, that's it for today. Another day we're going to have to figure out how to put our keyway back in here. So I'm sure that won't be that hard, but it's gonna suck for a little bit. So until then, see you next time. Buff it up, 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 buff it up,